4 out. And I can honestly say I think the young lady that wins does so in a pretty big way, just in terms of how she controls that. Really nice job for that young lady that goes ahead and wins our 18-year-old division. Young lady right here is one that I think tries to mimic a lot of. I think the big thing for me is rear leg placement. The other thing is getting your body in front of that sheep to get a stronger brace out of him. Outside of things on sheep, if you guys will, let's put our hands together for an excellent job.
Results of our Class 1 seniors. Down your program, it goes 4, 1, 2, and 3. You should be coming ringside. Holly Narr, Aubrey Miller, Peyton Zepp, Emily Hebron, Noah Guyman, Virginia Burns.
Believe we get into our 17-year-old division, and gentleman right here wins for me, and I think does so right here from the side too, because that look from the side is the hardest to replicate. I think you do an awesome job and get an easy win. Control their top line and spine. Where you get in trouble is right here. Why? Because that one wants to pull down and is wanting to fight. Different age division, it gets interesting, because I think you've got 3 kids in this group that are all good, and I say that honestly because I think you do a lot from the side. I think if we can clean up that one's look, it gets very, very interesting, and I'm probably still working. Race out of that sheep, that's what takes you to the next level. Getting in there, getting that sheep to drive, because that look right there is very, very intriguing. But man, if you can do it pretty easy. Young lady right here, I'm going to tell you, you don't beat yourself to that one's small. Getting a small one to look right, because when you get that one propped up, I'm in. Like, here's my money. You got me. But there's also times when that sheep just wants to get a little fidgety in terms of our feet and legs and puts you in contention with those 2 for that top spot. Gentleman right here that comes out next. Number 1, incredible hair. I mean, your hair, dude, holy smokes, I'm in. That one's a pain in the tail. Every time you get in and try to get that sheep driving, and the thing I tell you guys ringside, there's a reason he's having to get that low. Why? Because when a day. Young lady that comes out next is one that, you know, just in terms of the fundamentals, there's a lot of things you do that I like. This look right here is probably the best look. It just makes it hard to get a consistent view out of that one. But how you work the ring in motion is good. We've just got to get that look a little more consistently end to end. And then I can get this one going. Problem is, he's getting tired very, very quick and is wanting to shut down on you, wanting to get his back legs.
Age 16, senior showman. First place, Peyton Zepp. Second, Holly Narr. Third, Emily. It goes 2, 5, 1, 3, 4, and 6. And David Guyman.
You keep that sheep's top line in it the best. I think you square up the best in terms of your corners, and I think just do the best in terms of front end assembly. Really nice. For me, you do good in motion, but where you get into a little bit of trouble is this look right here. We've got that sheep too stretched out, and get him to drive. I think you're going to realize real quick those back legs, or those front legs that's third, is one that, you know, we watch how we work around the ring, and I think if that one would mellow out, give you an opportunity to get in and get him set up. It changes some things looking at how that class breaks out. I think if you could get that one.
Following need to make sure they're ringside. Out of Class 1, Caroline Boone and Lauren Wareheim.
Controlling that one's front skeleton. You finally got his top line laid into him, and I think he squares up the best. The other thing is your look. We're going to talk about the things I like and the things I change. How you work the ring. Amen, sister, I'm in. You understand you give because I think you got a little nervous. When you got down and showed that might have been her best look. Because you got her head up, she mellowed out, you mellowed. Hands on the pair of them that go 1-2. That you's just not wanting to brace as hard. And I love how you get them presented from the side. Don't be scared to go down if you know that's what makes your sheep look the best. And I will tell you, that's what makes your sheep look the best. I promise you. I tell people all the time, what's your preferred showmanship style? If you came in here, stood on your head, and got them presented right, I'd still use you, okay? So understand, how do I get the most out of them? For you, I think it's getting down and getting that one to relax, because on the brace, she just wants to pull down a little too much. Young lady right here in 3 that go 1-2. There's times where we lose our feet and leg placement because that one's in reverse and is wanting to pull back. He wants to drop his head, his spine goes up, and he just doesn't piece together like he does from the side. The thing I would tell you, great job on the brace. Like I said, we've got to match that in motion. I think if you do, we're still probably sorting through this class because there's parts. And biggest thing that I'm going to tell you is confidence is key. When you first walked in and you saw me, use your maximum potential. Because that look right there, there's times when you give me a look of quality, and there's times she's wanting to pitch a fit. She's wanting to pull down up front. She can't figure out which way she wants to stand. And unfortunately, it is really hard for tall guys to do great at showmanship. Why? We have to contort our bodies in ways that sheep will respond to you. I think that's an awesome, awesome set, top to bottom. If you guys will, let's put our hands together on an excellent job.
Molly Dell. 4th, David Guyman. 5th, Elizabeth Burns. 6th, Rhiannon Granger. 8, 1, 2, 7, and 4. Now at this time, we're going to pick our champion. Class 4, Colleen Haynes, and Class 5, Estella Gover. The following individuals need to be ringside. Emma Arball, Patrick Barber, Jacob Braun, Hunter Huff, Eli Barber.
Keep our top lines in them and do the most just in terms of trying to paint a picture from the side as those sheep get out and go.
Your champion, senior showman, is Peyton Zerv. We'll need our last year seniors to please come to the ring or stay in the ring if you're already in. There is an LLC. And our reserve champion senior showman award is sponsored by Pat and Lynn Talbert. This is their last year of showmanship here at the Carroll County Fair, and the Fair Board would like to present them with a gift. Okay, we're ready for our intermediate class, age 13. We need 5 entries. And while we have a couple minutes here as they enter the ring, I would like to introduce our judge, team coach, and an academic advisor for the Department of Animal Science at Michigan State University. Before Michigan State teams, Taylor loves traveling around the country, judging stock shows, and is excited to work with our exhibitors, as you've already found out.
I think consistency is the name of the game once we get into this intermediates, and the other big advantage for him, and I think what separates him from the gentleman in second, is he understands how to get feet and legs propped up. I think he modifies some things. We got to clean up our rear leg placement at times. That sheep wants to push his spine up. A lot of that has to do with the fact that he's wanting to rock his front end a little quicker to the gun today. Really nice second. Young lady that comes out next, I tell you, you do an awesome job just in terms of getting in front of that sheep and getting him to drive and break that thing rock back to a 90, clean up feet and leg placement and roll on. I think you got a bright future ahead just well. I think you do a pretty consistent job just in terms of getting them lined up. Problem is that ewe lamb's wanting to bounce around quite a bit and not really want to figure out what's comfortable for her right now. But your intensity, how you control them in motion is what you need to build off of. Let's just hope next time her attitude's a little better. We can get a little more out. Head up. I think you keep that one spine in it. The big thing for me is our rear legs, getting those cleaned up. I think positioning yourself more in front of that sheep to get a drive out of that.
Braun, 5th, Patrick Barber. Down your program, it goes 3, 5, 4, 2, and 1. Also, a quick announcement. Last year's seniors, the 4 last year seniors that were just in the ring for showmanship, please get your senior gift. Meet Wyatt by the backdrop for a picture. Now in the ring, we have Class 9, age 12 intermediate showman. We have 7 entries. Benjamin Harmon. Those making their should be coming, Lane Huff. Also, an announcement for exhibitors. Maryland State Fair entries closed and completed by 11:59 p.m. If you have any questions, see Becky Ridgway. She's up here by the announcement.
But we got it taken care of. Young lady, you win. It's not close. I dig it. That look right there is as soon as you walked in that gate, you got maybe 3 or 4 steps in. I said, I've got my first, let's sort the rest. Because then we control their muzzle. we get that neck up, keep their top line in them, and how you work things in motion is very elite. Now, like I said, got to clean up that. I think from there, this is where it gets tricky. But I think when we start thinking about positives and negatives, I think the one that probably hits quite a bit. Young lady right here with the Jacob sheep. I tell you, I think just in terms of fundamentals, that's why you're third and not any. Don't get too worked up. You walk in, you get the job done, and you move on. Now, say, hey, I got a Jacob sheep, use me. Deal? So find that intensity inside. I don't care what sheep you're showing. If you do the best job, you're always going to get. I tell you, there's times I love what you're doing because you get in there and get that sheep propped up and get them driving. There's all, the minute that you caught that one and got back over here, you took a deep breath, you cleaned up your feet and leg placement, you got in there and got them going and balanced them from the side. And I think that, you play sports? Okay, he plays football. Now let me tell you something. I played football as well. But keep doing things at home and keep rebounding if something bad happens, because that's what I'm looking for as a judge. Young, that's easy to follow around the ring, that's easy to watch in motion. And the minute that we got on that side of the ring, I don't know what happened, but that thing started looking set.
Showman. This is the first class, 10A. 5 entries: Macy Cagle, Leah Fritz, Abigail King, Allison Johnston, Addie Wagner.
I think this class gets just a little interesting because I think the sheep are just one. That one's not very tall, okay? So getting in there, you have to get lower to get that sheep to drive. But I think where you kind of solidify yourself for me is right here. It's end to end, but I still think the parts and pieces there are the ones that I like the most. Young lady right here with the Jacob sheep. I think where you probably counter her to rock and roll, even if that one's ready to leave. Tell her, hey, we got business. Let's get it done, all right? Your intention to win. But I got to have that consistently from end to end. Don't be scared to step off, get down, moving forward. I love the brace, really good in motion. Just got to make sure we get those feet and legs squared up. And then our buddy down here has got one that's wanting to. So take that, build off of it, come back and say, hey, I'm going to move up a couple of spots next time. I'm going to go.
Smith, 4th. Anna Lynn Smith, 5th. Lane Huff. Down your program, it goes 1, 2, Allison Johnston, Addie Wagner. After this class, we'll pick our champion and reserve champion, intermediate showman. The following: Leah Fritz. Those people should be ringside.
In terms of keeping that one's neck back, keeping that one's hip and hind leg inside of its body wall, probably just gets a little harder brace. Gentleman right here, I think does a lot.
First place, Addie Wagner. 2nd, Jacob Frock. 3rd, Abigail Kane. Out of Class 1, Fritz, Jacob Frock, you should be ringside. You're the
I'm someone that's usually pretty blunt, pretty honest. There's an individual out here that smoke shows it, not close matches, no matter what ring we're standing in. I think they have done an incredible job. And then for reserve, I think it gets just a little bit closer. But that young lady with the blue sheet.
Bounds Incorporated. Keegan McGrew now enters the ring, and we will pick our reserve champion, intermediate Showman.
We pull that second place back out of that showmanship heat. I thought that gentleman did an awfully good job, and I think he's in the hunt for
McGrew. And that award sponsored by Jill Turner and family in memory of Eddie Harrison. Marching and concert band. In her spare time, she enjoys painting and photography. Please welcome Annabelle to our Carroll County 4-H FFA Fair. Internet ambassador. Lydia is 16 years old and lives on a farm of over 500 animals. She loves being with the animals and hopes to continue working with them. We have 4 entries: Avery Becker, Madison Myers, Malachi Riddle, Grayson Cromer, Brock, Levi Smith. Those individuals should be ringside.
Keeps his top line in him and does a better job of understanding speed. I think that's where I like her to win the best. Now, things we got to work on. That sheep does want to pull down, and if that sheep wants to get its spine up from the side and in motion, we kind of want to drop her front end.
Third, Grayson Cromer. Fourth, Malachi Riddle. Down your program, it goes 2-1 ringside. Kenley Cagle, Elizabeth Coppersmith, Jacob Guyman, Lloyd Arball.
Maintaining an appropriate speed and motion. And even though we struggle with our front feet at times, there's also some instances where she'll get that clean up feet on both ends, get that sheep's neck rocked back and get in front of that one a little more and get that one to brace. Gentleman right here that comes out next, I tell you, bud, thing I'm going to tell you, just come in here and let loose, all right? Come in here, get in, get that sheep driving, because honestly, that here is one that I love in motion. I think how you control that one on the go, that look right there is probably the best view. Not really want to cooperate as well. And then the gentleman that comes out next, the biggest thing for me is getting in front of that sheep, getting it to drive. I think if you do, it's going to change some things from how that's all done.
Results of Class 13B, Levi Smith. Down your program, it goes 4, 2, 1, 3, and 5. Age 8. And we will have 9. And might be, I have it here with me at the announcer stand. So those 3 items, if you want to lay claim, just come up and see me up here.
volumes about who you are as a showman, because you could have easily got mad. I don't blame you, but you kept going. And there was some errors out here, and I wanted to see how you fit. And when we got over here and I started working around the sheep, you separated yourself. Now, there's things we got to fix. That's why I pulled you at first, because we got that used spine up a little too much. But I actually think after I pulled you, you got a little fired up. You came back. That look right there is why you win. You're the only one that keeps their top line in them. I think of the top three, you're the only one that you were the only one that truly kept that sheep in between the two of us. So I think that speaks volumes. Like I said, I jumped the gun a little quick, but I'm glad we brought you back. It's because of everyone in this class, you are the most intense. I have to take a couple of steps back. You might swing, I don't know, slightly at times. And then the other thing is, when I had just the two of you ladies over here, you didn't necessarily step off of that sheep as good as we needed to. I think if you build a consistent job of keeping their top line in them, keeping that thing squared up out of its hip. The big thing for me, though, is when we watch how you're pulling that sheep in, because at times he wants to pull down, our feet and legs get a little jumbled. But I think the big thing, go home, back legs get a little too sprawled out on us. I don't know if that sheep necessarily wants to hold its head up, kind of wants to pull down. I think if we could clean up some things on both sides. You said, uh-oh, you flipped sides, got it fixed, did what you're supposed to, and when we got you over here, you started putting things several spots real quick. Gentlemen right here, I tell you what, you do an awesome job just to coming in here, being easy to follow around the ring, really good in motion aside. If we can figure out how to get that one going, get you comfortable, that's where things start getting very interesting for me. Keep working.
Your showman, and then we're going to get into our grand champion and reserve grand champion, and then we'll do our champion of champions. So our last class of junior showmen: Kennedy Smith, Eliza Hockheiser, Brantley Wagner, Elliot Weishauer, Trinity Becker, Sophie Hamp, Bridget Barber.
Like these two gentlemen were probably just a little more consistent for my likings. More importantly, they were better in motion and how they controlled those sheep on the go. I think when we make that lap, it's a balance and symmetry, gets his neck up. I think that sheep represents the most look from this side. Now, initially, the young man we have quite like we like. I think if we could get that sheep's neck back, it would help his spine ever so slightly. But I think those top two are over here. When we get back over here after the lap, set them up, that sheep probably struggles the most just in terms of feet and leg play. Over there, it'd move you up a couple of spots, because that look right there is awfully nice. Just need it, like I said, consistently start to finish. Young lady right here, really good done in terms of feet and leg placement. Over here, we had them jumbled up just a little bit. Gentleman that comes out next, I think that you's just wanting to fight him, not wanting to work as hard as we'd like to and get that one to prop up. But I think she knows what she's doing. We just got to get that ewe lamb to respond a little harder to the brace. That weather today, don't know if he necessarily wanted to help her out. Awfully good way to round out our classes of showmen. Congratulations.
Cromer, third, Elliot Weishauer. Fourth, Brantley Wagner. Fifth, Kennedy Smith. Sixth, Jensen Wagner out of class 2. Lloyd Arbaugh out of 3, Mason Frock out of 4.
So let's put our hands together for our junior sheep showman out here. You know, I think this division gets just a little tricky because and balance and look and how they control them in motion. I think that's where some things kind of line out for me. Like I said, I think it's pretty close between a couple.
Dawn's sheer style. We need Avery Becker in the ring. Out of Class 1, we will pick our reserve champion, junior showman.
We pull that second place out of that class back in, and I thought the young lady who's just been the most consistent, who probably gets the most look out of them from this side. And I think for me personally, we've got an individual that early on almost...
Senior champion, Peyton Zepp. Our intermediate champion, Taryn. So we need Caroline Boone out of the senior class. We need Keegan McGrew out of the intermediate class. Note I said first year lamb exhibitors. Please come. Your grand champion showman, champion out of our senior showman, Caroline Boone, into the ring, and we'll get our reserve grand champion. Peyton, don't go too far. We're going to do class of champion of champions right after this. Graves and our reserve grand champion award.
Or he's wanting to become a little bit of a booger, but I think when you get into him and get him propped up from the side, he gives you a look of quality. I think he does a lot of things well. Young lady right here, I think you've got the tough one. The other thing is in motion. He's not necessarily wanting to work for you as well, but I think, like I said, just your intensity, your presentation has been very good. Just in terms of how she gets down, gets in front of that sheep and controls its front skeleton. Same time, that guy doesn't necessarily want to get out and motor as well. I know it's a little better in motion. The other one's probably just a little neater in terms of how they get them propped up. If you guys will, let's congratulate these three. I'll set them up.
That award sponsored by John and Ramona Rawlings and family, in memory of Brenda Barber and Nevin Tasto. For exhibitors in the barn or outside if you can hear me, Maryland State Fair entries close tonight.
We get out here and start looking at these four sheep, and I think the one that probably fits me the best, just in terms in relation to the weather that's going to be second, is genuinely thinner at the base of her neck, neater and trim, fresh, good hided. Same time, I think that sheep just reads too immature, reads a little bolder and rounder off either end of its skeleton.
Class 206 Junior Shepherd's class. First place, Keegan McGrew. Second, Madison Myers. 3, scratch 1 and 4. Now in the ring is our senior shepherds class. We have 3 scratches.
We get another pair of them out here, and I think the ewe-lamb in the back wins pretty easy, and mine pretty easy. Whether we got there in second, I love just the feature down low of that sheep, just in terms of his bone work. And I actually think that sheep's pretty comfortable in terms of his hind leg posture. Awfully good pair of them, though. Congratulations to those 2 kids on an excellent, excellent job.
2. Scratch, scratch, scratch. That award was sponsored by Shepherd's Manor Creamery, the Histon family. Please get over to the photo area by the big banner. Get your picture taken. Reminder, the parade is at 5.